If you live here on the Eastern Shore, or even if you've just spent an afternoon walking under those gorgeous oaks downtown, you know the feeling. There's just something different about Fairhope, right? Something in the air. Well, today we're going to dig into that and uncover the incredible story behind that feeling. It's the question you hear all the time from people who just moved here and folks who've lived here their whole lives. You know, it's more than the beautiful bay or the cute shops. There's a different rhythm here, a unique character that's literally woven into the fabric of the community. So, where on earth did that come from? Well, the answer isn't in some modern zoning plan or a city ordinance from a few years back. No, it goes way, way deeper than that. The secret to Fairhope's one-of-a-kind identity, well, it's all in its absolutely audacious origin story. It was an experiment born from a really powerful idea. And that idea belonged to this guy, Ernest Berry Gaston. He wasn't some powerful politician or a mega-wealthy industrialist. He was a thinker, an organizer, and a reformer who took a pretty abstract economic theory and had the nerve to try and build a real-world community out of it, right here on the shores of Mobile Bay. See, to really get Fairhope, you have to understand Gaston. And to understand him, we've got to rewind the clock, way back to his early days, long before he'd ever even seen an Alabama pine tree. This wasn't some wild-eyed dreamer. He was a practical guy wrestling with the biggest, toughest questions of his time. What's so interesting to me about this is how normal his start in life was. He's born in Illinois, grows up in Iowa, gets a business degree, and then jumps right into a career that we here on the Eastern Shore know pretty well: real estate. He was buying land, developing properties, and even publishing a little local paper. I mean, on the surface, it's the classic American success story. But underneath all that success, Gaston was really troubled. As a real estate guy, he had a front row seat to how land speculation was making a few people incredibly wealthy, while so many others were just struggling to get by. And he started asking himself this really fundamental question about the fairness of the whole system he was part of. And that question led him here. He and a few friends in Des Moines created what they called the Investigating Club. And no, they weren't just playing poker. They were reading and debating the most radical thinkers of their day, people like Henry George and Edward Bellamy, trying to figure out if there was a better, fairer way to organize society. So all of this intense study and late-night debate led Gaston to come up with his own totally unique solution. It wasn't something he just copied from someone else. It was his shot at forging a middle path, a brand new kind of social contract designed to be both fair and free. You have to understand the world he was looking at. On one side, you had this kind of ruthless dog-eat-dog capitalism that he felt was creating huge inequality. But on the other side, you had the rising idea of state socialism, which he worried would just completely crush personal freedom and ambition. He was absolutely convinced that both of them were dead ends. And this was his answer. He called it Cooperative Individualism. The core idea was simple but revolutionary. Let people work hard and succeed through free enterprise, but build that whole system on a foundation of community cooperation, specifically through public ownership of the land. It was his big attempt to get the best of both worlds. But an idea is just an idea until somebody does something about it. And Gaston was definitely a man of action. So he and his small group of followers decided they were going to stop just talking about a better world and actually go out and build it. And that journey would take them all the way from the plains of Iowa to the sandy soil of Baldwin County. And just look how fast it all moved. They founded their association in January of 1894. By November of that exact same year, they were here, setting up camp. They called their new home Fairhope because they really believed they had a fair hope of success. And the little group that took this incredible leap of faith was tiny. Just let that sink in for a moment. 28 people. That's it. These weren't rich adventurers. They were families, packing up everything they owned, leaving their homes and communities, and traveling more than 800 miles, all based on the power of an idea. It was just an incredible act of conviction. And this right here, this is the engine that made the whole experiment run, the famous single tax system. It's a concept that, believe me, still shapes Fairhope's real estate today. The idea was that the corporation, not individuals, owned the land. Settlers would then lease a plot for 99 years. Their rent was based only on the value of the land itself. But, and this is the key part, they owned their homes, their businesses, anything they built 100%. The whole system was designed to stop land speculation and make sure the entire community benefited from rising property values, not just a few landowners. Now, a radical idea like this could have so easily failed. I mean, so many other utopian experiments from that time just fizzled out. But Fairhope didn't just survive, it actually thrived. And a massive reason for that was the quiet, steady, persistent leadership of Ernest Gaston himself. Gaston wasn't some fiery, charismatic speaker. He was a builder. For 41 years, he served as the colony's secretary and was the editor of the local paper. He was the calm anchor who navigated them through internal disagreements, economic depressions, and a whole lot of criticism from the outside world. It was his patient, pragmatic leadership that really held the whole experiment together. And this is what makes this story so unbelievable. This isn't just a history lesson. Gaston's vision is a living, breathing part of our city today. The Fairhope Single Tax Corporation is still right here, still owning and leasing thousands of acres based on the very principles he laid out over a century ago. So when we go back to that original question, what makes Fairhope feel so different? We come full circle. It's not just one thing. It's the echo of a community founded on purpose, on a deliberate principle, a deep conviction that people could work together to create a fairer way to live. And the architect of that whole vision was Ernest Berry Gaston. So that kind of leaves us with one last thought to chew on. The next time you're walking downtown or looking out over the bay, just think about it. How does an idea from 1894 still whisper through our streets today, shaping the very ground beneath our feet? It's an incredible legacy, and one that's definitely worth understanding.